evening, and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Garrett Punchy Dill. Punchy, we've had international football played last night at the Philadelphia Southfield Stadium at the National Sports Center. The Bermuda won 6-1. And then today we had three preliminary FA Challenge Cup matches that probably raised a few eyebrows. In one match, Crossroads defeated 40 Kings 12-1. Corona League outfit Inter BDAFC defeated Southampton Rangers 2-1.
Southampton Eagles, was it, or Southampton?
What's that?
Was it Somerset Eagles or Southampton Rangers?
Somerset Eagles, Somerset Eagles. Because I was jumping ahead. Corona League team Terrace Onions defeated Southampton Rangers 2-1 in extra time. So two first division teams have been bounced out after extra time. And of course, one Corona team were heavily defeated by a team that was in the Premier Division last season. In Crossroads. We will be joined by the Bermuda national head coach at the bottom of the hour, so we'll leave a lot of that conversation about last night's match until the bottom of the hour, where we can really home in on him and find out, the ins and outs of how training's been going, how everything's been going. But let's jump into today's matches. Obviously, Crossroads in their first match, they've got their coach back. And then their first showing, they put on a show. They literally put on a show. 12-1 over 40 Kings. Massive score. Donovan Thompson, 4 goals. Paul Simons, 3 goals. And they, sprinkle of goals from other players. But clearly, 40 Kings were no match for Crossroads today.
Yeah. No way. But I saw that score. I'm like, wow. And then, hearing about the coach that went away for a while, now he's back. You could clearly see already the effect that he has on that organization.
Yeah.
He has an effect on him. I don't know what it is, because you remember when he was actually there, when he was coaching before he left to go to, I think he went to England. But look what he achieved. And then all of a sudden, he's back, and I think that is very positive for them.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, you could. Wow, 12. I don't know what his secret is. I don't know if it's his. I always thought that his secret would have been his. Why he gets the most out of those players at Crossroads is because his physical conditioning. I think he's probably his knowledge. He's probably well liked also. Not that Gumbo wasn't liked. But what does he do different? What has he done different? It would be interesting to speak with him also.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's when in coaching, and you would know, it's personality. How do I get along with these guys both on and off the field? Do I show? And we have to remember that the breed of young people nowadays is a little different in the way you have to approach them. We're not like we were under the likes of somebody like Dick Dane or those days, because these youngsters, you're not gonna just say yes and go and do what you ask them to do. You have to almost explain to them why you're asking them to do what you got to do, whether that be right or wrong. But that's just the way it is.
The other thing is this Crossroads' first game of the season?
Game of the season, yeah.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
Look at that. There's automatically. You don't score 12 goals just by accident. You don't do that. No, you don't. Again, it'd be interesting, like I said, talk with him. And again, look at that result, 12.
Yeah.
I would have thought they would have folded. I thought there's something at Crossroads that seems to keep them together. Even with what happened to them last year, because the results, what they suffered last year.
Right.
With Gumbo, I don't know, but it just seems to be when this coach here comes back, when he's repeating what he did before.
Yeah, right away.
Clearly, his preparation. I would like to go down and watch his training sessions. I have a sneak. Sometimes there's a sneak around and watch sessions. You know,
Right,
I'm going to go
right.
and watch the sessions and see exactly why he does to get the most out of the players at our crossroads.
Yeah.
And I do believe, Earl, if you score 12 goals, it's not by accident. It's by something that's been done right. The players are feeling good again.
Yeah.
And you remember when we had the conversation about them, right? Last year, it's like did they have quality there? So
they have
somebody else comes in that they like.
Yeah, realistically, now they have two quality goal scorers in Donovan and Paul, and they're Paul's been a threat in the Premier Division. Even Donovan, when he was playing in the Premier Division, was a threat. And now you see they're teamed up again because they teamed up to bring Crossroads up some years ago.
That's right.
Now they're teamed up again, and combined, they're still that's 40, 50 goals, right there because easily most of them could get 25.
I right away. I'm already chalking them up for promotion.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't think I'm stepping. I think I'm gonna chalk them up for promotion.
Right.
Hopeful, not promotion. Hopeful, but promotion because I just think that he does something. He brings something to the team that no one else has been able to do.
Right. I do feel a bit sorry for a team like Robin Hood, who have yet to play a game. Remember their first match was called off because BAA defaulted, and then they were due to play their first match, which was the FA Cup on Friday, but due to a waterlogged pitch, that got called off as well. So they're probably itching as well to get on the field to play. Some of the Trojans haven't played since the first week of the season. So right now the first division is in a bit of turmoil as far as consistency in play.
Yeah.
And, there still hasn't been a decision on what they're going to do with the scheduling of matches that would have involved BAA. So until we find out, what that plan is and these teams really find out what they're going to do, it's going to be a stop-start for them.
Yeah. That's right. That's what's going to happen in that division. But let's look at it's 8 teams in the division now, right? So what we're talking about. Let's go with Crossroads, Somerset Eagles, Southampton Rangers. Let me see what else I can say.
St. David's.
St. David's, that's 5. Boulevard 6. We've got 2 more. Robin Hood 7.
And you got Somerset Trojans?
Yeah, I put in Somerset Trojans already. It says one person.
Glasgow.
8. So let's say if I'm jotting this down, who do we look for promotion this year, and who's going to be significant in that? I think Somerset will definitely be up there for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Somerset will be up there. I'm also thinking that that with Robin Hood, with Sequoia Robinson, it's going to be interesting because he's in that. It's going to be very interesting. He's playing and coaching.
Right.
It's going to be very interesting to see what he produces, what the results will be with him. With Robin Hood.
Sure.
Then we got. I'm always listening. Then we got the likes of Crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. If I'm a betting man, if I was a betting man, I'll put them in. I put them in there for promotion.
Sure.
I definitely would. Now Boulevard.
Because you never know what you can get with Boulevard. I was just going to throw that name in. You never know what you're going to get with them. They're a team that could. And if you look at it, the last 2 seasons, it came down to the final week where they had opportunities to gain promotion.
Right.
So you can't really count down.
I think that with the turmoil, Boulevard is in such they've been that way for so long that I think it's definitely for me is organization at that point. Yeah, someone goes to organization. But the other thing is let's look at something like the Rangers also. The Keith Jennings. And I have talked to Keith and I say, what do you, in terms of what you plan on achieving up there? And I don't know. I don't know if it's really thinking about promotion. I think it's I get the feeling that Keith is looking at just trying to stabilize that club, just like in the cricket. What's the name's going to come back to do? What he's trying to do of Southampton.
Butch Burchell.
Butch Burchell, yeah. I think that's what I get. That's what I think Keith is trying. I mean, and they lost, and you say they lost today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost heavily. They lost heavily to Somerset.
Right.
They lost last week, and now they've lost to and I believe the second year in a row they've lost to a Corona team in the FA Cup.
Oh, I believe so too.
They lost last year to a Corona team in the FA Cup. I could be mistaken, but I believe they did lose to a Corona team in the FA Cup last year. So if that's the plan, then we shouldn't see players being sent off. We shouldn't see players, getting a bunch of yellow cards, because if the plan is just to stabilize the club, then that everybody should be under the same idea of we're not out here we are out here to win, but we're not out here because we're not out here for life and death kind of thing.
Yeah.
They have had issues with players being sent off throughout the season and so forth that, if that mentality is changed and everybody stays on the field, eventually things will come good.
What is so disheartening about that? Because we go back in the days, we're going back some years now, and even for cricket, I always thought that I don't want to say it like that, I'm not being facetious, but I always thought Reds were predominantly a cricket club with a good football program. Mm-hmm. And they achieved a lot as a footballer. The likes of Randall, Woodgate Simmons, Miles Smith, Dan was up there. And to see what's happened with them now, what do you really blame, or what is the demise of the club? The junior program, I don't think they have a junior program. I don't think they do.
I think they have one. I think they have one set of youth playing football. I know there's some ladies who have gotten a Southampton Rangers netball team, so they're trying to do stuff throughout the community. I don't know how well involved they are with the club itself, but it's getting the club's name out there in good light. They are a community. They are trying to do things, and that's always a positive thing. And it takes time. We can't just look at it today and saying, "Oh, the football team failed, the cricket team is failing." Everything takes its time. So it's their turn to, I guess, regroup and way back. We saw some years ago. We saw PAC have to go through it.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. Exactly. Rebuilding.
Yeah. Remember, the year they closed their club, they went down, and they were in the first division for a few years. They came back. They didn't. They hadn't won the league for a while. It was mid-table, mid-top table, and then all of a sudden, here they are. They're dominating. After a while, the league.
Yeah, It's kind of what's going on in that league, and in the country itself. Like in that league now, it's like some of the teams they just show up to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They train once a week and they just show up to play. What are they really trying to achieve? And I think there's been Boulevard's problem for a long time after the great success years ago.
Yeah.
I don't, and let me say about, we can go down the line with that Sums of Eagles with Joe Martha.
Yeah.
With Joe Martha, what is it that he's doing? What is he really trying to achieve up there? And I asked Keith, so what do you want to do, Keith? And what do you think about for the future of Rangers football club?
Yeah. And one other team we haven't mentioned, at the beginning of the season that we were looking to to see what they do at the end of the season is St. David's with Keishan Bean.
That's right.
They've basically made a statement early in the year that, hey, we're not just going to be a cricket club this year. We're going to be a football club, and one that's going to be hard to reckon with. But it's going to be a long season. We just want to see how that materializes. We saw what Keishan brought to the team when he started playing in January last year. It brought a different confidence to the team. They were just so far behind at the time to try and fight for any type of promotion. But he starts off the season with a bang, scoring goals. But they need to also find other players to pitch in, because eventually when you get to those tougher games, you're going to have guys trying to mark Keishan out of the game. So and who have already had success in doing so. So the other players are going to have to step up. I know they have a goal here and there from other players, but those players are going to have to be consistent in at least creating or scoring to make sure.
I don't know.
They stay consistent.
But I thought me and Maceo had this conversation once about the breeding ground for younger players, that division. The breeding ground for younger players. You get these great, say you get 3 or 4 good players out of St. David's, then you say, listen, we're going to try to get you to come play for North Village at any time, because you need to, but what I think happens is that they stay there too long. When you get 16 and 17, then you're so used to just playing at St. David's. But at that time between when you're young, between 16 and 18,
right,
you see some good talent there. And then if you stay a team like St. David's, the mentality is, okay, we're just surviving. We're hurt. And I think what also happens is they're not challenged. And I think that's a problem. I think it's a problem with a lot of these clubs. Some of these clubs are, when the young man, the community clubs, but now you're looking at, okay, look, you could probably go and challenge yourself more and try to get a spot in North Village or Dennytown or PHC. But then if you're living on St. David's, training.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Yeah. So that's also throws something about the younger players from St. David's that are probably going to actually stay at St. David's or end up over at St. George's.
Yeah. Well, let's take our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about those 2 Corona League teams that are now going to be in the draw for the next round of the FA Challenge Cup. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? For generations, John Barrett & Sons has been a part of our family's table, and now they're bringing something new for yours. Discover Wonder Juice at Lindo's, a refreshing organic burst of flavor delivered with the same care Barrett's has given Bermuda for over 150 years. Cold pressed, pure, and full of nutrients, just like the fresh fruit juices we grew up loving. From Wonder Melon to Wonder Beet, it's that familiar Barrett's touch, now with a wholesome twist. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, it's silence, proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near.
welcome back. I left the FA Cup. I want to thank Alessandro Belvedere for informing us that the FA Cup matches that were scheduled for Friday will now be played tomorrow. Robin Hood and YGS at 7, and then Tough Dogs and Vasco at 9. Those matches will be played at the BAA Field tomorrow evening. So I guess the association will be looking to have the draw probably the same week on Friday or something like that to allow teams to know who the next round opponents are. But that match between Somerset Eagles and Inter BDA FC, Somerset Eagles scored in the first minute, Punchy, and then conceded in the last minute.
Okay.
Sent the game to extra time, and then the winner came in the 108th minute. Southampton Rangers. I mean, I keep saying Southampton Rangers. Somerset Eagles. A lot of work to be done there. I mean, they were edged by Boulevard in their first league game, and now to fall out to a Corona League team. Mentally, it'll be disheartening for them. Especially if they had planned to try and push for promotion. It's not the way to start.
No. Again, what we talk about with Joma, what is his intent there? How do you go and recruit players? You had to recruit more players. But who's going to go up there and play for Somerset Eagles? And in all truth, the way the country's going in the migration, I think we talk about the people. A lot of younger people leaving early, going overseas to live in England or Canada or United States. So what you will look at what happens to Somerset Eagles, what's happened up there, and is it going to get any better? Right now, Joma, a team like Somerset Eagles had to literally go out and recruit and say, look, why don't you come up and play for us? I don't know how they will get that, they can, but because where's the talent there? Where's the talent? And because of the fact that you still got Somerset up there, which is still, the major team that most of those guys want to play for. So he's got a problem there. And I think Somerset, he's got a struggle there. Really.
Hopefully they wouldn't be. Well, with the fact that Island Rangers never entered into the league this season, hopefully it's not a numbers issue, because I would have thought maybe one or two of those guys would have ended up at Somerset Eagles as opposed to Somerset Trojans. But we have to just wait and see, because with Island Rangers not signing up, player don't need a transfer, because he doesn't belong to a team, so he could just register for a new team, but the association don't put that out, until you actually see a team sheet. So, hopefully if they get the numbers that they need, then they could turn things around, in a few weeks or, game by game. But again, it's going to be that stop-start that's going to, I think, frustrate someone like Joma, someone even like Keith, because as we know, football is a rhythm game. And if once you get into a rhythm, you want to continue that rhythm. But if you're playing once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks, that's gonna be tough. And now that Rangers and Eagles are out of the FA, there's even less football played, while others are still playing more football. Yeah. My thought about that also is, like, when I think about Somerset Eagles and Rangers, right? Younger players. Let's say we go watch Somerset Eagles play against Rangers in a regular league game, and then you're looking for, okay, what's your next talent? You're on the 16, on the 17 player. What's the talent that you have that you're producing up in what Somerset Eagles, what the West End were doing all the time, right? And
so you're thinking, well, Somerset, Somerset has a lot of young talent out there. I know that for a fact.
Right.
But the others, they had the sprinkle of talent also, like you. right? So where's the talent? Where's the young talent when you go and say, oh, what's this on the 17 guy? This guy, this such a person. Or, we're going to watch Rangers.
Right.
And, well, I just don't, I don't see it no more. Like happening in those particular type of teams.
Right.
I don't, Earl. And in all honesty, we will be talking about it and about these young players, but I really don't. And now also the fact is, let's go through this here. When you look at the under 14s national team selection that was just playing the tournament a month ago, right? Where did most of the players come from? Look at the teams they come from. You don't see them come from some Eagles. One or two from Somerset, I do believe. Then there's PNC players, there's Norfolk players, there's FC Bascom players.
Yes.
And one or two BA, I think. But look at the roster of the selection of those players. And and then some of them overseas, of course, just like my grandson.
Right.
But then where are the players that are coming up on the 14s? You don't see it. You don't. It's not happening. So that's also what I feel is happening in the country in those particular teams now. And would I say they ain't done the homework? Can I say that they didn't recruit? What is happening? It's really again what I always use case study, because what's happened up the West End, and I say Earl, from Southampton up all the way up to Island up there. That's really what we're seeing now. Look at the selection of the national team also.
Right.
If you go back and look at who's selected, and I make sure I say, oh, okay, this team has got this many players for the national team on 15s, on the 17s. You're not seeing it in those teams now. You're not.
Yeah. It's been a big drop off.
It's been a big drop off. Yeah.
So, and then obviously the Terrace Onions defeating Southampton Rangers after extra time. Oh man, I mean,
this game played? We'd be interested. What was the game played to?
That game was played at BAA as well.
Oh, okay.
The two extra time team games were at BAA, and the Crossroads game was down at St. David's.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I went and watched this Inter Bermuda Football Club. I think they train on B. I think that's them. Yeah. I think they were them. Yeah. So I was sitting there watching it because I sometimes just go watch the sessions of the junior team, at FC Bascom. I just go on. But when I saw these guys training, they had like 16 guys.
Oh, wow.
They were serious. They were training serious. I was like, well, who's this team? Then do you go?
Yeah.
So, and what you've got there is a lot of guys that probably played. I found a lot of them probably played for other teams, PHCs in North Villages, Chicago. So when they went on, they say, "Look, hey, and I'm not that serious about the game."
Time. Yeah.
Yes, right. I can't put the time in now, job wise. So these guys go for this team, so they can steal. And Earl, I tell you, I watched them warm up. I watched them go through the paces, and it was a guy coaching them. I said, "Wow, this team is actually. What are they trying to achieve here?" And all work, and they're doing, but. What I did see was the camaraderie there, and the month of it was 16 players.
Wow.
And they were serious; they weren't joking. I was like, "Whoa, wow, that's a real something there." And I guess guys, those are the kind of teams that we're talking about. But it's pretty interesting the next draw who they get.
Yes, yeah, and I mean some of these teams they want a big name team because you want to be able to say, "Look, we knocked this team out,"
Yeah.
As we know, on the FA Cup day, anything can happen.
Well, that's exactly. My Vasco, what I don't really know what's going on in Vasco. I think was it Nick is Nick out there coaching?
Vasco, I believe so. I'm not sure if he's coaching the senior team. I'm not. He was involved last year. But I don't know what his involvement is this year. It didn't. When I saw their list, it didn't have him down as the head coach. Which, again, that's something I would have to check.
Oh, okay.
I know they have a young team. They have a very young team. So that is also going to take time. And the one thing that a lot of the people have to realize is that when these youngsters nowadays if they start getting beaten each week and even getting handed large defeats, they'll go and do something different. They
That's
won't
right.
anymore. It's not like when we loved to play, regardless of what the result was. Yes, we wanted to win, but we loved to play. But the attitude nowadays is that we're just gonna have a kick.
Yeah, and don't forget also in a small country like this, there's one other thing too. When you're not in a good club situation where you're a good footballer, but your team is losing all the time, you can be going out and then we have athletes, the runners, rugby, there's tennis, pickleball's coming up. What else? Golf. I mean, cricket. For a small country like this, you're up against it if you're going to keep the interest up. If you're not winning, especially at a young age, they can be. It's so much other sports at a small country like us. There's an alternative for players now, and outside of football and cricket. So they don't stay alone. The minute they feel like they're not getting the work, they can go run. They can go look at archery. You look at archery. Yeah,
see me world through a bow and arrow.
Yes, and then let's say also the girls' hockey team. Kudos to them too. The hockey. Well, to beat Brazil. Oh my God! Wow. But so that's what we're in now. We're in a situation of a country like us. We need to have our programs at the clubs, and I'm only saying this here at the club level. The organization is so important, especially at the youth level. At the youth level, so that our footballing strategy, what the association is trying to do, it makes sure that we keep bringing young players through, and all over the island, not just specifically in the city of Hamilton, and not just in the center city, whereas Denby Town, Cougars, and I include PHC. Now, Paget's doing a really good job. North Village, FC Bascom. So it'll be interesting to see even what Crossroads is doing, which is for youth programs. It's paramount that we sustain a good youth programs throughout the island.
Right. Well, let's take another commercial break, and hopefully when we come back, we'll be joined by the national coach, Michael Finley. We'll try to locate him during the break. We'll be right back.
Over the pink sands, beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years, it's been clear, digital is proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
For generations, John Barrett & Sons has been a part of our family's table, and now they're bringing something new for yours. Discover Wonder Juice at Lindo's, a refreshing organic burst of flavor delivered with the same care Barrett's has given Bermuda for over 150 years. Cold pressed, pure, and full of nutrients, just like the fresh fruit juices we grew up loving. From Wonder Melon to Wonder Beet, it's that familiar Barrett's touch, now with a wholesome twist. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, as you can tell, we're not being joined as of yet by the national coach, Michael Finley. We have reached out to see if he is having technical difficulties, and hopefully he can join us momentarily. But Punchy, last night, the national team saw a return of several senior players into the starting line. Nikki Wells got a hat trick. Zico Lewis was back starting. Reggie Lamb started. The only veteran, when I say veteran, I mean they're still young, but been around for a long time, was Billy Clement. He's coming off of a operation, and he kind of sat on the bench all night. But there's probably more to see him play down the road. But when we see this team and where they've come from the last time they were actually in the Nations Cup, to where they are now, second place in Group D. Dominican Republic, obviously, after beating us with 10 men the last time we were out playing, and now to play Dominica and beat them 6-1. We play them again on Tuesday night, and hopefully, the boys can have another good showing and come up with another 3 points, because it's all about the points right now.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. I'm sure Coach Finley was probably breathing a sigh of relief, especially having the Key Wells back. And then we're looking at the opposition to Dominica, just how good they are. And that I always thought that was best expected. We're going to beat them.
Yeah.
But I think the problem, there's one thing that we have to start speaking about, is that the amount of changes that this team, your national team keeps doing. What happens? The key comes back, there's Reggie Lamb. When you're trying to build a program, and I go back to like teams, let's go back into Europe, the Portuguese team, how long they've been together. You look at the amount of games that they play together as a unit, even though they got a new coach now.
Yes.
The old father figure who had those guys together for years. And you're not talking about just, so you're not talking about just anybody coming to that Portuguese team. They are a prime example of what I'm talking about, being together for long periods of time.
Yes, consistency.
And with our country, it's what makes it so, I won't say problematic. Problem. It's just that the problems that we have is that now that a lot of the younger players that the coach will be interested in, like the overseas.
Yes.
And so sometimes they're not available.
Right.
But can you imagine for the next qualifying, if he can have a solid group of 20 or 25 players that he can call upon every time. So when the selection comes up, who's going to be starting. Just like in Portugal, Ronaldo, center forward, like Nikki Wells or Reggie Lamb. So what it's got to be a problem. It must be, what Finley probably liked last night was probably more than happy to have quality at his disposal, of course, seniority,
yes,
and then actually winning, which is most important. Most important.
And he was able to bring the young fresh legs off the bench that also contributed to scoring. I mean, Norrie Scott, Jai Bean getting amongst the goals. They probably got the best start they could ever get after 26 minutes up 3-0 with Nikki Wells getting a hat trick. That would have kept the crowd going. And again, like you said, because realistically, Finley would have been under pressure from the general public in Bermuda with some of the results that he's had since he's been the coach. And now he comes up against a team like Dominica at home in front of the local crowd, and things go our way right away that, the crowd's now behind the team. And like you said, him breathing a sigh of relief would have been one of the plus. Okay, whew, got that one off my back. Now I have to look forward to Tuesday. Can I replicate the performance? Regardless if Bermuda win 1-0 on Tuesday night, it's the performance that he has to look for. And like you said, having that quality around,
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference. Even against teams that we consider well below us, that like teams that we should be Dominica. But just winning 6-1, it's still an advantage. In terms of qualifying for the Gold Cup, which is most important. Yeah, I'm sure when you look back on the results before then, and again, what we're talking about, having the numbers, and you can have numbers, but having the quality. What I'm also hoping that on Tuesday night, let's see if he can integrate the team, maybe with more Bermudian players. Maybe we talked about this young man that plays in North Village, that's been included. He was in England for a while. Hendrickson, I think it's Hendrickson. But
From North Village.
From North Village, yeah, he's been
I know they included Leroy Lewis.
Yes, and then there's another center midfielder that plays for North Village. But anyway, he's I've been watching his quality. You could see what he's been playing overseas,
right,
in England. And but what I'm saying, Tuesday night will be a good time for us to showcase a lot of the on island players that are playing. I think
he would want to have his senior players secure the victory first, and then allow those young players, the local base or even the younger ones, to have that opportunity to get involved in the match. Because what you want to do first is make sure that you have the game put away, so to speak, and then because what you don't want to do is start a game with giving youngsters an opportunity to have a go. And the rut sets in, and you can't score, and then you bring these guys when the other team's already got momentum now, they got the confidence, and you end up on the wrong side. So
I think here's
and then because you're allowed, I believe, 5 substitutes. So there's ample opportunity to get young people and local based players on the field if things go your way, which could have been done, and was done last night. So, it's just another opportunity to play in front of the local crowd, just show out what these guys can do. I mean, there's always a lot of talk about, these guys are playing in the lower divisions of England, and, the local based players are not playing up to speed and so forth. But when you have, like you say, when you have quality players around them, you tend to raise your game, so that's what we're gonna see for quite some time, that the players playing outside of Bermuda bring back a different attitude into the squad, and it's just a matter of everybody matching that tempo and that ability, working with a coach.
Yeah, well, again, we're talking about, again, this country's being talked about in circles, especially in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for so many of the players that are playing in the national team are playing overseas, especially in the Key Wells.
Yes.
And then it's Reggie Lamb. So, this is very important. And you got to think that in this area that we're in the Caribbean, and I keep saying, I put a circle on, should we be in Cuba now? We're not. Should we? Who are we realistically talking about that we should be beating? So we know we should beat the Dominica.
Yeah,
I would think that Barbados. I'm talking about Antigua. I'm talking about St. Kitts. But those little small countries are also putting money into the footballing programs also.
Yeah.
So let's take, for instance, I'm sure you've seen the channel with the United States today, Mauricio Pochettino.
Right.
So in this region, in the United States, Canada, and we go to Panama's, and where do we stand? What are we? With a lot of our players going overseas now, what is our standard, and where do we lie in this CONCACAF region? and which is very important for our status to start being upgraded, man, to win these type of games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
When you look at it, right, when you start seeing about the rankings above us in the rankings, especially in the CFU, I'll just use CFU as a margin. Jamaica are 57th, Haiti 78th, and these are FIFA rankings. They're 1 and 2. Martinique, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname, Curacao, Guadeloupe. They're all ahead of Bermuda right now. Bermuda ranked 12th with St. Lucia in CFU. Bermuda, though, are 165th in, they're tied with St. Lucia in FIFA rankings. But right behind this is Puerto Rico, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, St. Vincent, Dominica, Montserrat, Barbados, Aruba, Antigua, and St. Martin and St. Martin. You know, those are the teams that I think you're referring to that we should be beating. Those teams below us.
Yeah, that's right.
Be matched the likes of Guyana. It's going to be difficult with Dominican Republic. The teams above us are sheer number teams. When I say sheer number, they have an abundance of numbers to choose from, both in and out of their country. I mean, you take a team like French Guyana, half that team, if not 95% of that team, play in France.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
So you know, trying to match them, even in League 3 of France, it's going to be quality above whatever any of us are playing in. You know. Except the likes of probably Naki, you know, but trying to match that is going to always be a problem. But the games played on the field in any given day. I mean, we saw the other day Greece beat England, you know, 2-1. You know, the games played on the field is just a matter of who's willing to put it in that day. And you know, we've seen struggle this year. In World Cup qualifiers, I believe they're in 4th place.
That's right.
You know, so they're struggling to qualify for the World Cup, the next World Cup. So, you know, it's one of those things.
It's you know, again, speaking about what we have at our disposal for talent here, and from such a small place, you know, what we are thinking about, thinking about achieving, what we want to achieve. And it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of organization. And that's why the clubs organization, having the club type of football, the quality is so important. Right. So that, you know, one or two guys that are playing for clubs teams in Bermuda make the national program. They're ready. They have the quality to play at that level, which is, you know, right now we're doing the same thing for Jamaica. Mostly players, 75, almost 80% of that team play overseas.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but you know, again, the next level. We're talking about the next level. What we get. I do believe we're going to qualify. We should beat this game. Come on Tuesday, comfortable again. And then it's next. What comes next for us? Again, we're going to start looking at the games against the Panamas. Against, well, you know, we're talking about Jamaica, Costa Rica. We're talking about what you're saying, Guadeloupe, French Guyana. These teams, these little small countries that we weren't talked about before. 15, they're very serious about football now because of migration. A lot of those guys are going to leave the country, going to France, like you said. Yeah.
And the availability now for players to represent different countries is far greater now.
That's right. It's far greater. When we talk about Nathan Trott, he played for England. Now, would he come play for us? Which would be great.
Right.
It would be fantastic if he ever decided to make an appearance for our national team. It would be great. Then it would bring more people out, of course, support and equality. It enhances the quality, especially when you come up against those bigger teams. You know, it's no way we have. I'm hoping that the key continues on and is getting older. But the next couple of years, leading up to the World Cup and all the Gold Cups, we're going to need him and Reggie Lamb too.
Yes. Well, let's take a quick commercial break because I've just gotten word that the coach is trying to log on now. So We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll be joined by the national coach, Mike Finley. We'll be right back.
Over the pink sands, beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, the silence proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. The silence proudly Bermudian.
For generations, John Barrett & Sons has been a part of our family's table, and now they're bringing something new for yours. Discover Wonder Juice at Lindo's, a refreshing organic burst of flavor delivered with the same care Barrett's has given Bermuda for over 150 years. Cold pressed, pure, and full of nutrients, just like the fresh fruit juices we grew up loving. From Wonder Melon to Wonder Beet, it's that familiar Barrett's touch, now with a wholesome twist. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, first of all, we want to say welcome, Coach Finley. Give us your impression on the overall performance last night of the national team.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate that. I think first and foremost, we've said from the beginning that we needed points in this October window. It was essential. And so we began that, meeting that goal by getting the first 3 points and then target for the next 3 points on Tuesday night. So in terms of what objectives are, it's a good start. As it relates to the overall performance, I think what we saw was, we saw the end product that we have been lacking, in the last number of games. We've created some very, good chances in some previous matches, but we haven't been able to execute. And as I said to a number of people, I sound like a broken record, but that's really what it came down to. And last night we sort of shed that clothing and were able to complete and execute in areas that we would want to do all the time with the type of football that we've been playing and the tactical awareness that we're trying to sort of instill in the boys. And we saw some final product that gave us a great night for Bermudian football in terms of entertainment and ultimately the result we need.
Yeah. Coach, you want to jump in with a question real quick?
Yeah. How you doing, Coach Finley?
How are you?
Congratulations. I'm
Thank you.
good. I'm very good. I'm sure. What is now Nikki Wells and Reggie Lamb's status for the next, maybe not the next game on Tuesday night? Has he committed to the national program with the next games coming up? If we qualify, which I'm hoping that we do, which it looks like we will. Has he committed? Which can you let us know if he has? Because as you were saying, it's so important to have that quality
Absolutely. I mean, as I said last night, there's no doubt that you see when you've got someone as the quality as Naki coming into the team to be able to be on the end of things that we create, and that's the difference between players playing at different levels of global football, and Naki's playing in one of the top leagues in Europe at this moment in time, one of the most difficult leagues in Europe. As they say, it's one of the hardest leagues to get out of. Easy to get into, but hard to get out of. So yeah, it's always important as it relates to his continued contribution and involvement. We've had a long going relationship since I first came in as head coach, and we've always respected his position and the importance of his career and his overall contribution when and where, and that's what we'll continue to do, step by step. But I can tell you that he has enjoyed his period of time coming back into the national program. He's very aware of what we're trying to do, what our goals and objectives are. He's pleased with the way that the team is evolving. He's very familiar with a number of the players, and so he's really enjoyed himself here, and that's really important. And then, as I said, we will be speaking, day by day, and we'll make those decisions closer to the time. But I'm quite confident that we will see Naki Wells in November.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After results yesterday over in Europe, where Kane and Kizai were pulled out of the team for the first match for Saturday night, for last night's match, and you were hoping to have him for Tuesday. Doesn't look like Kizai will make it because he's involved in a replay tomorrow, Tuesday night as well. But will Kane Critchlow be included into the squad now?
Yeah, we're happy to report that they're both on the jet, and they should be arriving momentarily, quite frankly, in Bermuda. So no, both will be available for selection on Tuesday night. We're keenly aware of both of their situations. As I said again, the type of member association we are, in the status we have within CONCACAF and our ranking positions and where our players are playing, it's a management issue. We have to be aware that sometimes we're going to run into these scenarios where we have to manipulate the squad to get as many of the players we wish in camp and in matches, but also make sure that we're supporting their professional career and hopefully getting them into the best environments possible, because ultimately that helps Bermuda. So that's what we've done with these players when we looked at.
Has he cut out, or have I cut out? Is that me or you?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, okay.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah. He's back. Yeah.
Okay.
For the game for Tuesday night, what would you be looking for on Tuesday coming? Because I mean, I know it's difficult to just playing this game. I know it's difficult to. You're playing one team. You play one day, 2 days later, you're playing them again.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the mentality of the players that you think what you're looking for Tuesday night?
Well, first and foremost, we're looking for the same application. That's number one. We have to clear our minds here of Saturday night's game in terms of what that team was and what that team ultimately presented to us as competition. That team's going to go away, and I'm sure they're going to lick their wounds, and they're a proud group of players, and I'm sure the coaching staff is going to instill upon them that they don't want to be embarrassed like they were on Saturday night. So you have to be very, very aware of that mentality. You have to be very aware what that brings to a game, and we have to come to the game with the same focus, the same performance standard in our mind. It will be about a fight. It'll be a fight for respect, fight for position, fight for possession, winning your 1v1 battles, some of those common things you hear in football, but it's actually true. So we're looking for them to evaluate what we did on Saturday night, which we will do this evening and tomorrow. They've been in a regeneration and free day today to recover, and we'll get right back at work tonight and tomorrow and prep for Tuesday night and look for the same result and the same 3 points. So we go into November, putting ourselves in a position that we potentially could meet the ultimate goal and qualify for the 2025 Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
When you look at what you were able to do, especially off the bench last night, 2 of the players coming into the game, getting on the score sheet. As a coach, there's technical changes. How does that make you feel? And those youngsters, what they would have been like after the game, feeling like they've made a contribution to helping Bermuda to win.
Oh, we were so excited, and I made a mention to the team back at dinner when we returned to the hotel. I think it was Nori's goal. It was honestly one of the proudest moments I've had as the Bermudian head coach, because you saw the reaction from the players when he scored, and you see international football is very difficult. You sometimes don't play, but you still have to be there, and you still have to be ready, and you still have to be prepared, and you still have to be committed. But it can be very frustrating. And so when you get success like that, the group looks at that as a bonding moment, is that we're all contributing to the same process. International football is not about 11 men anymore. It's about 18 and it's about 23 men who all have to be prepared to contribute, and that's what we got out of it last night. We got both some domestic players onto the pitch. We had a domestic score. We had a domestic make his first national team appearance for Bermuda. We had a player who's sort of, been in and around the group for a while, but hasn't seen a lot of minutes, come on and contribute on the score sheet, which is incredibly important right now, because that could be part of the difference at the end of the day of who goes through to the Gold Cup in 2025.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Coach, I got 2 questions for you. First of all, clean sheets. It seems to be that we're still, I'm sure you might have been disappointed with the goal that was scored last night against you, which is the most important. The conversation I have with people that we're not keeping clean sheets, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is that what is your headaches, and I'm sure it's a headache for a country this size, your team selection since you've had the job. Every time you look, it's these players come in, these players come out, this player comes, and Earl and I were talking before you came on the show about a team, and I'm gonna go just saying, like a team like Portugal that I follow, how they've been together for so long. When you come to a country of this size and now with so many players playing overseas, it's got to be a difficult time for you. It must be kind of, because I'm sure you would probably like to see a steady 11 that you pick all the time. Is that a real difficult task for you? Plus, is that really difficult since you've taken the job?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, to be quite honest with you, as I said to the coaching staff too, and we say to all the players that come in, when we meet with a new player that comes on and they get onboarded with what we're doing from a structure and from a tactical point of view and from a core values standpoint, one of the things we tell them is their job is to create dilemma for the coaching staff. We want to be in a position where we just don't write down 11 players and say those are the players that are going to play all the time, because the reality of this size of member association is it's unrealistic to believe that always happens. So we want to be tested. We want to be put into dilemma. We want to stretch the squad as it relates to numbers. We want to be able to have depth. But yeah, you want to get to certain games where you know that you can rely on a core group that maybe creates the spine of the team. And I think we have done that in certain areas, but in other areas we haven't been able to have that consistency because availability, injuries, performance standards, those types of things. So it's part of the job, and it's part of something that we look upon as the challenge. What is good to know is that what we've seen over the last, I'd say 6 months since I came in August last year, but over the last 6 months is we've started to see a solidification of at least a base. And now we're adding pieces to it, whether that be domestically based players or that be players that we are finding in our, excuse me, in our scouting identification program. So, it's good news to know that we can dig deeper into the pool and be able to put players out there. As it relates to losing the goal, yeah, I won't lie. I was extremely annoyed because it was a goal that we did not have to give up. And it's one area that we discussed at halftime is that we needed to keep a clean sheet. And these are the details that we have to focus on because they were detailed. And if you go back and you just look at the action that took place, it was definitely something that could have been avoided. And so we have to focus on those bits and pieces so we don't make the same mistake on Tuesday night.
And our final question, and we want to thank you for joining us this evening. Obviously, did you feel any added pressure going into this game? Because, since you've taken over, we've had some hard luck.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Pressure is always a word that's kind of funny, because it whether you want it or you don't want it, or whether you like it or don't like it, it's there in whatever form you want to believe it exists. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe that, like last night driving to the game, I had feelings of nerves and butterflies because I feel that's super important for being engaged in the game. If you don't really care and don't really feel anything, you might have a problem. So I don't really look at it as upon pressure as much as I look at it as something of delivering on the plan that we're putting in place. And when we don't deliver on the plan that we're putting in place, and you talk about some hard luck and snake bitten maybe in front of goal, that is what probably disturbs me the most and disturbs the rest of the staff, is because we've been working hard to avoid those situations or enhance those situations. So that's really how I feel about it. I felt it was very important for us last night to sort of break away, and I'm glad we did, because we were due. We as I say, you go back and look at statistically, we've created a number of chances that we should have executed on, and we would have been in a better position, but we weren't. So I felt that the time was going to come that we were going to break out, and last night was that time. And hopefully we continue to break out and do it again on Tuesday.
All right. Well, good luck. I know there'll be probably more people in the stands after the performance of last night and the result.
It's funny how that works. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah. You win a game, score 6 goals, all of a sudden the stands are full. That's the business of football, So anyway, no, pleasure to talk to you anytime, always. Really excited for the players and for the fans. Great support last night. The boys really felt that, and they felt a real honor in being able to come home and deliver that sort of performance, and they're looking forward to doing that again on Tuesday.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great to see you guys. Okay.
Right.
Bye-bye now.
Okay,
bye.
Well, Punchy, there you have it from Coach Finley. Just wrapping up what we can expect for tomorrow. That's a good surprise to know that both Kizai and Akane are available for Tuesday night. I was under the impression that Kizai wouldn't be available because of the fact that his team drew their FA Cup match. The replay is scheduled for Tuesday night. Maybe that got changed. He's now available for Bermuda for Tuesday night. So that's a plus to the national team.
Yes,
players who are quite in form, and as you know, Kane is a girl a game of late for the national team. So hopefully he can continue that if he gets his chance on the field on Tuesday.
Well, I'll just add that, again, we're treading new ground here. Years ago, you go back 5 and 10 years, 6, 7, 8 years ago, these discussions were held with the national, on like this chat. And it's just a lot of people that tune into this. And I think it's so significant that, and for our country, shows like this are significant for our progress. Right. And it's not going to be overnight. It takes time, but at least we are having a discussion about it. And I'm so glad for Finley to be speaking. He brings a real a professional attitude. People could see his discussions with him. I mean, the results have not been going this way. No. But, again, coming to this country and whereas, again, what our country is about now with all the players playing overseas, it's not easy. It's not like what Gary Dow had to deal with years ago, or Alan Jones when I was playing, because everybody was Bermuda based. So it's it bodes well for us that we are now at least having shows like this. And I really appreciate being part of this, Earl. And I'm glad. I'm hoping that a lot more people show up on Tuesday night.
Yes.
You know, and give this support that this country needs more in football, more and more support at the national level for the national team.
Yes, yes. All right, I'll Punchy. We'll be back next week, Sunday, with another edition of the Island Stats Football Show. Enjoy your week. Good luck to the national team that take on Dominica on Tuesday night, 7:30 at the National Sports Center. Have a good night, folks.
Take care.